welcome to Preston Taylor's senior speech. Preston is joined today by his mom, Dina Taylor, and family friends, Amy Nesbitt, Harriet Monte, and Layla Stallworth. Let's give them a warm welcome. Preston came to prep in the 6th grade, and he has filled our halls with music and drama all through high school. Preston has been singing with chorus since 8th grade and the boys quartet since 9th. Through his involvement in theater, he will have played a role in 12 shows by graduation. He is currently the president of Thespian Troupe 1324, and he served as a recruitment chair his junior year. Preston rounds out his artistic pursuits with service. He has been a member of Schools for Schools and the Service Club in both 11th and 12th grades. And last year, he helped put on the junior-senior prom as part of the prom committee. And this year, he serves on the HEC. Preston balances all of these activities out with some academics, and he was inducted in the NHS his junior year. Outside of his school hours, Preston relaxes his trebles away by skateboarding, taking voice lessons, and pursuing his love of music by playing with the hyper-local indie band, Undecided. He plays guitar, bass, and Don't You Fret. He sings vocals. He channels his passion for music into his developing skill set in music production, which he will tell us more about.
When you think about music, what do you think of? Listening to Thomas Rhett with the windows rolled down? Going to a party hearing God's Plan by Drake? Regardless of the genre you listen to, music most likely plays a significant role in each of your lives. But have you considered how it's made? Music production has become a very important part of my life, and in everything I listen to, I ponder the questions of, how did they make that sound, or did the artist mix and produce this themselves? There are two primary ways to produce music, either in a recording studio or by yourself in a home studio. These two processes vary greatly, and self-production gives the artist complete creative control over their own music. But before I delve into the specific aspects of music production, I will review the history of the recording studio and of production. From roughly 1905 to the 1920s, musicians had to crowd around the bell of a horn in a small room and play their music into it, to be directly transferred to a wax disc. This created obvious issues with balancing the different instruments and getting orchestras or large instruments into recording studios. In 1925, Western Electric made electronic recording possible. This was a huge leap and let artists play at their normal volume and in normal position. What this means is that bands or orchestras can sit in their normal places in regards to their conductor and not worry about their location in regards to the bell. Although this was extremely helpful, music still went unedited onto discs. In the 1950s, multi-track recorders made it possible to record two separate pieces at different times and then put them together to play at once. Artists could record an instrumental, re-record guitar solos, or even vocals. This led to a whole expansive world of music production, and almost every artist takes advantage of this today. But today, there are many options for professional recording studios. Whether it be the infamous Abbey Road studio used by the Beatles, the iconic Power Station in New York, or even the one-man-run Digital Halo in Aiken, South Carolina, a recording studio provides plenty of equipment and expertise to record music. I contacted the owner of the Digital Halo and asked him about what advantages he feels a recording studio gives. He said, quote, "Most artists want and need to just be creative while having someone else take care of the technical things. While coming up with a great guitar part, you don't want to worry about what preamp, mics, or mic positions are being used. You just need those things to happen transparently so you can get on with creating. On top of that, an artist needs someone they can trust to tell when a great take has been achieved. It's very easy to waste time and energy on useless takes or stop short of getting what is needed for the song. That third-person perspective is far more productive." End quote. In professional studios, there's typically the studio or live room where the artist plays, and the control room where the sound engineers produce and mix the tracks. They are separated by a panel of glass, and the producers listen to the music through large monitors. There are also isolation booths specifically for dry instruments, such as drums, and vocal booths for singers. The most common instrument with a dry sound that used is a drum, because you don't want the roominess of the live room to add echoes or other noises into the mix of the drums, and also don't want the drums to overpower the other instruments. The reason for isolating vocals is so that there's a clean recording of the vocals, separated from the mix of the other instruments, which heightens the overall quality of the sound. These studios are filled with extremely expensive and top-of-the-line equipment, and provide professional sound quality and pristine production capabilities. However, in the studio setting, the artist is physically separated from the sound engineer. In most cases, the musician focuses on their own performance, and lets the audio technician handle the work of mixing, producing, and editing their sounds. For this reason, I prefer the process of home production. Home production, otherwise known as bedroom production, is growing exponentially in popularity and has become the go-to for beginner artists, or artists who want exact control over their sound. Home production centers around one piece of technology that I'm sure most of you have in your own home, a computer. With just a computer and a DAW, or D-A-W, one has the capability to record, mix, and produce their own music at their fingertips. So what is a DAW, and how can you make music with solely your laptop? A DAW is a digital audio workstation. A DAW is software that lets you manage your recorded tracks, and it is a tool for music creation. It ranges from the most popular, being GarageBand, to the highly esteemed Cakewalk or Ableton Live, used by the most experienced producers. Apple's release of GarageBand specifically opened the world of music creation to the masses. Being a powerhouse technology company, releasing a free DAW gave millions of people the opportunity to create their own tracks. Before GarageBand, one of the sole options for music creators was Ableton Live, which today costs anywhere from $200 to even over $1,000. Even the cheapest options run in the mid-$200 range, so having free access to GarageBand was a huge step forward in the process of self-production. But Apple alone didn't just create the idea of bedroom production through GarageBand. A key factor in this type of production is the music platform, SoundCloud. SoundCloud lets artists publish their music on the internet free of cost, giving literally anyone with a Wi-Fi connection and a laptop the opportunity to put their sounds on the internet. SoundCloud removes the record label from music distribution, so artists don't have to wait until the label deems it the right time to release their album, or forces them to stick to a genre or style, or even inhibiting their own creativity. SoundCloud has led many artists to fame, including the likes of Russ, Aaron Cole, Clairo, Temperex, Yellow Days, and countless other artists. If you know anything of these artists, you know that they are all experimental figures in their respective genres. SoundCloud and the ease of music production using a DAW together have created whole genres, such as bedroom pop, or significantly affected other genres, such as hip-hop or indie. Because of this ease of use, there are more artists and songs released every day than ever before in history. So now, I will walk you through the parts of the bedroom studio. There's a laptop with a DAW, an interface which allows you to transmit the sound of your instrument or mic into the computer, speakers, and you and your instrument. Here is my studio. With this equipment, there are many ways to start recording a song. As you can see, it is literally my laptop, an interface, and instruments. So personally, I create a chord progression on my guitar or keyboard, add a drum beat, then layer a melody, guitar solo, or additional parts on top of what I have. Here I will show you a song I wrote and recorded myself, adding on track by track to mimic my own creative process. Started with the guitar part, added bass, drums, and finally vocals. Subsequently, I removed them in the same order I added them, so you can understand exactly how the process works of putting multiple takes together to create a cohesive track. Home recording studios became the go-to for many artists for many reasons. Working with significantly less equipment means it costs much less to create your own studio, and it is much simpler to use than the lavish mixing booths in recording studios. But primarily, being the vocalist, musician, producer, and mixer gives an artist unlimited creative power. They have the opportunity to create stream of consciousness music that lets them convey their exact emotion and feeling in their music. For this reason, I've become enamored with self-production and artists that choose to do the same. On a Sunday afternoon, I can plug my laptop into my interface and start making a song. No matter the time, I can sit down and record music. I don't have to worry about preparing for the studio or getting a recording band together. Mixing and producing captivates me because there is no one solution. There's no right answer or process, and there are unlimited possibilities and sounds to be made. The sheer vast amount of technology and capability that my laptop gives me is astounding, and constantly motivates me to sit down and learn and discover more. In my opinion, the growing popularity of self-production is a reflection of our generation and what we as young people today embody. 20 years ago, no one would have thought that teenagers now would be producing music on laptops and distributing them for the world to hear, free of cost. So I encourage all of you to apply this to whatever you do. Push the boundaries in each of your careers, academics, or hobbies, and ultimately, let your voice be heard. Thank you.